Oma awo bezara guru pema siddhi 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 Oma awo bezara guru pema siddhi
Sangye zhela zhugye chanam la janchu bhaju dani katsuchi dagi chochi sonam ki zola peche sangye dhokla shon Sangye zhela zhugye chanam la janchu bhaju dani katsuchi dagi chochi sonam ki zola peche sangye dhokla shon Sangye zhela zhugye chanam la janchu bhaju dani katsuchi dagi chochi sonam ki zola peche sangye dhokla shon Sinje damje dewa dan dewe gyudan dembar Sinje damje dunga da dunga ye gyudan dawa Sinje damje dunga mewe dewa dan me dawa gyuje Sinje damje nire zadam gyudan da Banyo la newa gyuje sa shi Bhage shashi bhajata lira liji nide de basi Sage shi dhami dewa ye jonga nanda shi Shiva isho ye dam guru Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Everyone is well?
Yes.
Everyone's getting better?
Just getting a good view between the heads. Yeah, that's what you said.
You're saying something. You can finish.
Oh, well, I think I'm more or less finished. I just said that I spoke with Nick just now, and he said we can offer $500 towards Annie Sarah's medical evacuation, which I believe is $3,000. And I said, can't we offer more? And he said, see how much you can fundraise from others first. Because that's how he is, of course. So that was the whole announcement.
Okay.
And logistically, I guess, give what you can to Carlton. I mean, I guess what I don't quite fully appreciate is that if we want to make an offering to Sarah, separate from the medical evacuation costs, or whether it doesn't matter, you just offer something and then she does what she wants with it. But at any rate, because she has this $3,000 bill now, that's just out there. So we're offering $500. So that's the whole announcement, I think.
Yeah. Ani Venerable Sarah didn't take health insurance. Is it? But she's well, she's doing okay now, fully recovered. Pretty much.
Not quite.
Not quite.
Are you able to
Sorry,
tell
I'm
us where she's staying?
taking some time.
Are you able to tell us where she's staying?
No. Why would she?
This feels good. So there hasn't been any flights for the last 3 days.
Oh, we'll stay here all together.
So this is collective karma. Here some prayer is going to come into hand. So if you're praying, then pray for clear weather. Otherwise, I think Venerable Holly, last time she came, she was stuck here for 1 week.
Whoa.
In Namche. I was stuck in Namche for 4 days. So some prayer is going to come in handy now.
So yeah, so I think today is the last day, right? Today is the last day. And then I think throughout our experience regarding starting from Kopan with the course, Health with the Cross, and then all the way up to Lawudo, throughout our journey, emotional ups and downs, little bit of emotional ups and downs. And then like we talked yesterday, we have experienced a lot of things. Maybe not just external experience, but also internal experiences. That's a very, very, very important knowledge when it comes to internal experience. And then a lot of you are doing a lot of prayers every evening, every morning, every daytime. So much prayers. So the dedication throughout our journey. Today, last day in Lawudo, so make strong dedication that maybe one day we can all come up here again, do more retreat, yeah, do more soul searching. So dedication is important. I think at the beginning it's a intention that we need to develop, and then in middle is the action that we need to do, and at the end it's the dedication, which sets your, if we don't do at the beginning, if we don't do the, what do you say, in beginning stage, if we are not doing color motivation, yeah. In the beginning, if we are not doing the motivation, then during the journey our mind, is not really on track. So motivation is important in order to create the right type of track. And karmically also, there is some debate whether when it comes to karma, whether it is so it's either the beginning create the karma, then the existence of the karma in the middle, and the end is jikpa, means the karma, what we say, impermanence, it changes, right? Then the other one is kijik, which is only two parts. One is the born part, one is the ending part. So whether there is a middle part or not, you can still figure that out. I think it depends a lot on situations or how you want to view it. But when it comes to creating karma, beginning and the end is the most important. So now we are at the end. At the beginning, I think Kardenla and Arnie Serala took responsibility to give you, to push you to have the right intention, the motivation and all of that. And now I'm the Juktu. Juktu, the one who's
at the conclusion.
Yeah, I'm the one who's concluding. So karmically, conclusion, dedication is important for your own benefit and benefit for all sentient beings, of course. Benefit for all sentient beings, including our close ones, including if it was Lama Zopa, goes on for 2-3 hours, include each and every. But I'm very lazy, so I'm going to say all sentient beings. So that is, I think, one thing. And second thing is, like I requested throughout our journey here, is the contemplation of your mind, understanding your experience, knowing who you are, and then working with who you are. That's the most important part, I think. And with the dedication comes a new motivation, where you take where you take not really an oath, but kalor. Yeah, where you take a commitment to yourself to work on yourself, work on to work on your mind, to work on your motives, to work on your views and perspectives and contemplation, especially in the way of the Mahayana practice, especially in the way that the Buddha taught, especially in the way that the Gurus have taught. And through that, what happens is, if you are able to motivate yourself to do this, then consistency becomes easier. If you are not motivated, then consistency becomes harder. So that's why, because this is the juktu, this is the conclusion. That means a new chapter is beginning. We go back, we go into our normal world with our normal experiences, with our normal problems. But then what you have learned through this journey, you use that journey to make your experience there more what do we say, more calm, more balance. Yeah, then also your spiritual path becomes more clear while you're in that crazy world. So that's very, very important. Yeah? Yes? So Jigde, we can do this afternoon, I think, dedication also. Then this afternoon, whoever wants to do can do a very, very, very long dedication. I won't mind. So that's Jigde for today. Coming down back to the concept of the application of the three principal paths, we have gone through renunciation, concept of renunciation, what it is, how it is, what it brings, what it where it applies, and how to set the right motive to actually be willing to understand and then use your understanding to what we say, to excel in your practice, whether regarding the view of emptiness or whether regarding compassion, and as well as any other practice, including the Four Noble Truths and the Eight Principal Paths, and the paramitas, the 6 paramitas or the 10 paramitas, or whether it be on a higher scale and you're going onto the Mahayana path, from the path of accumulation all the way to the path of no more learning. No more learning. So similar to what I have been mentioning earlier, even when you look at the structure of the path, the first one is the path of accumulation. So we need faith, we need merit at the beginning. But at the end, it doesn't say path of the finishing of accumulation. It says no more learning. It's again coming back to the mind. It's not about accumulation anymore. So to start with, it's necessary to accumulate. Necessary merit is important. Faith is important. It has a basis at the beginning. But as you process Jalam, the path of arriving, then once you have accumulated enough merit, you have started on your journey, then Jalam is the path you have reached where you are. You have enough merit to actually work on your mind. Like I said, where the conditions are right, where you can start working on your mind, your concepts, your beliefs, your thoughts, your motivation, and your emotions, all of those things. And then through that, then we go Thonglam, Jalam. Thonglam is the part of seeing. So the more you learn, the more better you are able to see. Yeah, the more you understand the delusions, the more you understand suffering, the more you understand the true nature of the mind, which is clear and clear and knowing. Yeah, clear and knowing. And through that, when you start to understand that the mind, the nature of the true reality or the true nature of the mind is clear and knowing, then you want to find a method to understand how to reach there. And there comes path of practice, path of meditation. Yes, meditation practice, quite similar. So on that you take steps into meditating and initializing what you have learned and bringing it into practice, similar to what we have been talking for the last 3 days, which is application of what you have learned. Tweaking the mind, tweaking the system that you have understood in order to balance, understand the true nature of reality, understand the true nature of the reality of the mind, how it is deluded, how it is, what we say, caged in the samsaric, what we say, samsaric environment. Yeah, the samsaric environment, and then learning that there is a path to, not just path or ways and means to be liberated from that. And that's where the initial practice happens. Of course, all of the 5 paths are different practices, yes, but when you look at it from, what we say, from outside, that's what you need to understand. Yeah. Then throughout all of the different parts of meditation and practice, then you reach Miralam, which is the path of normal learning, as well as we call it the path of enlightenment. And within the Tholam, Tholam and Gomlam, yeah, part of seeing and part of meditation. Then comes the tenfold path within that, which is a construct of understanding. What do we say? Color namje namche shishe namje yawate. Color the 10.
The omniscient one, the knower of the patterns.
No, like conclusion 10.
Bhumis.
10 bhumis, yeah, okay. 10 bhumis, yes. So throughout that practice, what you are practicing most in is the 10 bhumis, and through the practice of the 10 bhumis, you achieve number learning, which is the path of enlightenment. But within that sector also, after the tenfold path comes the tantric 10 paths of the tantric, what we say, tantric lineage. Yeah, the highest lineage of practice within the 10 paths. And that one is, what do we say, focus on contemplation of extreme dhamma, extreme subtle levels of understanding the true nature of things. Yeah. So, Dhamma is true understanding true nature of reality. Yeah.
Grasping to true existence.
Yeah, grasping to. Yeah, so working with the idea of grasping to true existence from different perspectives, yeah, and understanding the true nature of reality, and that in itself, what do we say? It pokes certain aspects of us that are unknown to us. Yeah, whether it be understanding the aspects through what we say channels, or whether it be understanding the aspects through mandala, or whether it be the mandalas within our body and our mind, or whether it be understanding it through what we say extreme practice. So these 3 things are the aspects of the tantric path, and from there, like I said, you with the support of 3 principal paths, then enlightenment is right one click away. Yes? Huh?
Maybe a little bit exaggeration.
No. Once you have clear understanding, clear realization of the 3 aspects, the 3 principal aspects of the path, it's very short. It's like once you know how to drive a car, then it's faster. Yeah. Once you know how to fly a plane, it's faster, even faster. So His Holiness, when before in Bangalore, when I think Venerable Namjamla was there also, right? Bangalore or Mumbai? You were in Bangalore also. Mumbai. You were in Mumbai.
And Bangalore.
Yeah, we were both there. One of the questions that came from the audience was, what is the fastest way to liberation? And His Holiness gave a big laugh. And the answer was, nowadays you're looking for faster, better, easier, simpler. But in reality, what is simple and what is not simple, unsimple, is it? Insimple, complicated. So what is easy, what is complicated, what is fast, what is slow, is depends completely on the mind and where your mind has reached. So there's no shortcut. Yeah. So that was the answer, and that really made a lot of sense. Once you start studying, it will start to make a lot of sense. Thank you. So it will start making a lot of sense. So with this practice, what we are working with is we are working with the grasping attitude, root ignorance. Then we are working with what we say, imprint, imprint, imprint like
Obscuration to omniscience.
Obscuration to omniscience, which is
an imprint.
Yeah, so which is imprint, what we say, imprints that have been collected throughout lifetimes. One concept of Buddhism when it comes to understanding imprints is Thoma Mebane, we say, beginningless. Yeah, so the concept of beginningless is there. And then because of the concept of beginningless, therefore the imprints is also what we say,
Beginningless.
not beginning. Imprint is not beginningless. Imprint, the countless, right? So the imprints also countless, and also the structure of the imprints are in such a way where some imprints are very, very rooted in very, very core places where we cannot really tap on a normal level. So you need to achieve a certain type of level in order to tap those those imprints, those obscurations to enlightenment. Normal obscurations, normal learning. Obscurations to normal learning. And those all have to do with the concept of which is the delusion to not being able to see the true nature of reality. And that's why we need to work on our mind, or we need to work on how we are willing to look at things, how we are willing to see things, and then the application of the view of emptiness to actually realize what is it that we are dealing with. We are not dealing with when it comes to compassion, we understand that we are not dealing with a person full of hate, but a person full of fear. When it comes to revenge, the same thing. We are not dealing with a person full of hate, but we are dealing with a person full of fear and regret and delusion. And when it comes to working with a person full of pride, we are not dealing with a pride person who has achieved a lot, but we are dealing with a person who's very scared inside and who is reluctant to show the weakness. So these are true nature of the mind, right? Some parts of the true nature of mind. So whenever you are dealing with someone, these practices are applicable. Applicable is a word, and these practices are applicable to understand and to not just to understand the other person, but to understand how your mind reacts to the other person when you understand the person's true nature. Right? The person's mind, the true nature of the person. So similar to us, how we presented ourselves as a person who is full of fear and a small scared little child, confused about where we are and how we need to get out of this situation, this samsara, this place where there's so much pain and so much suffering and so much war and so much famine and all of that. So similar to that, the application of this exact same view onto someone else. understanding that that person is not who they are showing to be. Yeah, they might be strong, they might look aggressive, they might have a scary look, they might have a lot of money behind, weapons, that, this, but behind all of those, same thing hiding behind all of those. So that's understanding where what the true nature of the mind based on the what we say on the cause of ignorance. Now the second thing is the courage. The courage to develop huh? Yeah. The second thing is the courage. The courage to develop the vigorness, the resiliency, the eagerness to proceed onto the path. We are inspired. Yes, we are inspired. That's why we turn our lives around. That's why we come onto journeys that are, that are beyond what we say used to, right? We are used to enjoying. We are used to satisfying the grasping attitude. But when it comes to journeys that are beyond what we say. Uh, Feeding our grasping attitude, and we are taking those journeys is because we are inspired. But inspiration itself is not enough. We need a good reason to do it. We need something inside here that supports us. We need to see results. And a lot of people, when they don't see results after 20 years, 30 years, then they give up. And 20, 30 years is not long enough. Yeah. The great bodhisattvas and the Buddhas of the past have struggled lifetimes, eons and eons of lifetime in order to achieve what they have achieved. So the encouragement has to come through understanding what path the practitioners of the past have taken. And through understanding what paths they have taken and how they have lived, how they have sacrificed their life in order to proceed on the path, should be something that we need to meditate on over and over and over and over again to be inspired. Inspiration doesn't come from a 1 hour talk. Yeah, 1 hour talk can inspire, but it can inspire for maybe 2-3 days at most. Yeah, after that you forget the talk, you forget that, you forget this, and you go back to where you were at the beginning. But then meditating on the achievements of these great beings, meditating on understanding how much effort they are putting, how many lifetimes they have sacrificed in order to achieve these kinds of what we say to be able to enter the path, to be able to be liberated from samsara. These things you need to contemplate regularly. Yeah, it comes regular meditation on these things would give you the encouragement to proceed furthermore. And not just furthermore, but it will encourage you, or it will build the strength in you to go beyond what you are, used to, what your comfort zone is. And I think coming on this journey, one thing you can really pick up is how the people, how hard or how much effort people are putting when they have different choices. They're still choosing to stick to one thing and put effort in that, or one place or one thing, and focus and put effort in that. And that comes from inspiration, right? So to inspire you every morning, to inspire yourself every morning is going to be a very, very, very valuable practice that you can do, right? So instead of sitting up in the morning, doing breath meditations and sitting down in the sun and relaxing, do that instead of that. Yeah, close your eyes, think about your gurus, think about the beings of the past, the Buddhas, all of them, and how much effort they have put into all of this. And and the concept that you actually, it's what is it, solid proof, right? Solid proof that you see when you sit like this and think about these things. When you sit down, think about Rinpoche and his qualities, you see that with that effort you can achieve those qualities. And because Rinpoche has put so much effort into achieving these qualities, if we did the same, we are also able to do that. And that was one of the first teachings of the Buddha himself as well. Because Buddha was born in a in a kingdom. He was a prince. He had everything he ever wished for. He had luxury. He had uh, every kind of entertainment. He had money. He had girls. He had that. He had parties. Everything was there. But then, how satisfied are we with all of that, even when they are right in front of you? Right? This is one of the most, I think, one of the first teachings of the Buddha that is taught not by words but by manifestation. Yeah. So think about those things, and then again, like I said, if you have someone who is a great practitioner that you see as a great practitioner, get inspired that practitioner, not for one day, not for 2 days, but for throughout your life. If you are able to inspire yourself like that each and every day, you wouldn't have any problem with any practice. The only reason why we have problem with practices, whether it be dealing with our emotions, dealing with our anger, dealing with our frustrations, is because we are not inspired each and every day. So inspire yourself each and every day through those methods. That's going to be an important practice throughout your life as someone who is willing to, take your step onto the path. Yeah. And then through that, also one important part is again looking at yourself, looking at your mind like your own child, giving yourself the space you need, giving yourself the environment you need in order to excel. So what? So keep these in mind, keep these practices in mind, and yeah, I think that's about it. We can do question answer. Yeah.
Rinpoche, I'd be very interested how you would relate Buddha nature to what you have been saying so far, inspiration, practice. And part of the reason I'm asking this question is that, 3 reasons. One line I always remember from the 9th chapter of Shantideva, the rest is very difficult for me, is when he says that, please recognize all is just like space, okay? The other thing that inspired me was Lama Yeshe would say, especially when you're in Bodh Gaya, there's no need to meditate, just space out. And he would say, I'm going to debate with these Gelugpa Geshes who are having all these convoluted arguments. And he spoke very much about spaciousness. And that's also, of course, people like, great masters like Longchenpa and so forth speak so much about that. And I've just touched on that, being a spiritual materialist, I've looked here and there, but that does seem to be very relevant to us. Especially what you said in your first talk about relaxing and not being uptight. So could you relate Buddha nature to what you've been saying? Because it's mentioned a lot in the other traditions, Buddhist tradition, Tibetan Buddhist tradition. How would you speak about that and relate it to 3 principles and how to be inspired and to practice?
So
maybe follow-up question.
so when the Buddha is practicing each and every day, or when the Buddha is what do we say, expressing, or what is the word?
Communication.
Huh?
Communication.
Yeah, it can be teaching, expressing, right? When the Buddha is expressing the qualities of the Buddha is not expressing the qualities of Buddha through how we express the small love and the small care that we express. They're very relaxed. Yeah, you will never see an agitated Buddha trying to work out. Oh, I need to care about all these people. How do I do it? You don't see that. The nature is very relaxed. The true nature of the mind, as we talked, clear and realizing, is that it's able to figure out the momentum that it flows in. It has the ability to understand the mind in such a way that it expresses things with so much, and like the concept of no more learning comes into play. The wisdom is there that it can work out like a flow. It flows like a river. And that's the true nature of the Buddha mind, right? The enlightened mind. When we are doing something, when someone is sick, we are all over the place. What medicine to use, how to use, where's the doctor, what. We're going all over the place. The Buddha nature is not like that. It knows what it's doing. It's not just that the concept is that it knows what it's doing. It's doing everything at peace. Yeah, the Buddha is not worried 24/7 and doesn't have anxiety and depression. If we as human beings had the Buddha, had the amount of compassion that the Buddha had, we would go mad. Yeah, we won't be able to handle that thing. If someone is angry at you, you will start crying. Oh, the person is angry at me. I don't know what I did. What should I do? How do I care? This is how we react. So yeah, or maybe we act differently. I don't know. But that's how a normal mind will react. Contemplation of understanding the true nature of the mind gives you a level of peace because of the wisdom, the combination of the wisdom and the method together. It shows the importance, yes, samsara, everyone is suffering this, that. But this, the eagerness to liberate them is also there, yes. But what do you say, sakatsuki khalir? Sakatsuki. Sakatsuki, yeah.
Busyness.
Yeah, the busyness, because we are busy. Agitation. The agitation is not there because we are agitated because we are not all-knowing, because we don't know the method, because we don't know how to, care about people, because we don't know how to, when someone is angry at you, how do I deal with that person? Yeah, when someone is sad, how do I, what do we say? What is the word? Comfort that person. We don't know those. Some people, when they are sad and you go like this, they become even more sad. Right? Some people, if they are sad, we go like this, they get even more angry. They need that space. Some people need to be left alone when they are sad. So the Buddha nature is the realization of understanding how to deal with each situation with its own antidote in every aspect of, what do you say, of problem, every aspect of the nature of the problem. So that's why developing yourself to be calm is important. The only reason why you are able to deal with situation is when you are calm. The more frustrated you are when it comes to a situation, the more likely that you would make the situation worse. Yeah? And frustration and all of this comes from destructive emotions. Yeah, delusional views, destructive emotions. So patience is another practice. amazing patience. And the patience comes not from a agitated mind, but from a mind that is at peace. So you need to learn to be at peace in order to deal with the situation. This is very, very, very common. The more at peace you are, even if there isn't a solution, it makes the situation better. Yeah. If someone has a very, very, deathly disease that cannot be cured, and you come there and you're freaking out, you think that will make the situation better? No. You need to be in a situation to understand it, use the right type of method and right type of wisdom in order to, take the situation in, and then work with the situation to bring out a method that, if not brings the ultimate reward, that brings momentary rewards that can lead you to the ultimate reward. Does that make sense? So,
Yeah. So how would you also add what Lama Yeshe seemed to be saying, that spaciousness aspect? Some people say Buddha nature in simple terms has this openness, it has warmth, and it has intelligence. So you've spoken a lot about the intelligence, knowing how, knowing the methods. So where does the space come in? What is that spaciousness aspect? And how could you give some way in which we can develop that spaciousness? Is not breath awareness very useful to develop some spaciousness in the mind? For example.
I will take spaciousness more to do with integration. Integration. Understanding the value of things comes from integration. That's why we say broaden your mind. That's the space we are normally used to understanding, right? You need to broaden. You need to broaden, expand. So the spaciousness, I think the concept of spaciousness comes from that same base of expanding your mind. Yeah, and expanding is nothing other than embracing. The more you embrace, the more you are expanding. Yeah, when it comes to culture, when it comes to religion, when it comes to all of these different things, how do you expand? You expand through embracing. Cultures, look, for example, one place, one culture doesn't work, the other place, the other culture doesn't work. But when you're willing to embrace, then the two cultures come together. Yeah, same thing with when I was talking about death. Yeah, you are expanding when you're embracing. When your mind is at peace and you're willing to embrace death, that's when you are expanding the possibilities. You're willing to, If you came on this trip expecting 5-star treatment all the way up here, right? Expecting someone to be right there next to you, feeding you, putting you water, doing massage like this, then your expansion is very limited. Yeah, your expansion is only to the point where your mind is satisfied. It doesn't go beyond that. Now you embrace the possibilities. Oh, there will be a possibility that maybe I will have to sleep on the ground. Yeah, there will be a possibility maybe that, I need to walk for hours and hours. But I'm going to, you embrace that. Now what's happening? Expansion happens. Yeah? And through that expansion, what happens is you learn to embrace so many different things. You learn to, if your mind is focused on what we say, service, right? If your mind is focused on service from others, then it's only going to be focused on that. Yeah. While you're walking up, it's like you think while walking up this hill, it's like you thinking, where is that guy who's supposed to pull me up the road? Yeah. Your willingness to look around nature and see the trees, see the different animals. Yeah. Embrace nature. That's not going to be there. So I think, I don't know if that answers it or not, But I think when it comes to understanding that expansion, it has everything to do with embracing. Understanding, using your wisdom and knowledge to balance, and then embracing.
And that will help understand the view of emptiness, embracing.
Definitely. So how that helps in understanding the view of emptiness is when we are embracing, we are willing to learn. We are willing to understand the nature of things. Right? If you are focused on believing that this cup is my cup, then you are never going to understand the concept of this cup, the possibility in this cup being his cup or her cup. Yeah, because you're so focused on the grasping attitude. But then when you open the possibilities, you're willing to change the nature of the cup itself. Whether it be my cup, her cup, his cup. Right? There comes the embracing part as well. And when you understand that, then you understand that the true nature of the cup is not my cup, or her cup, or his cup. You understand that the true nature of the cup is the cup in itself. And all the views that we apply on the cup are delusional views that are created by our mind when we perceive the cup. Make sense? Thank you. Something like that, I think.
Thank you, Rinpoche, Charok Lama. Maybe it was the first day you said something about making life simple and not complicating it. So I no. No, it's okay. So Nick has told me that I could write the book Making Life Complicated, because Nick published the book Making Life Meaningful. He said, you can write the one Making Life Complicated. Anyway, actually, that was quite useful for me. He said that to me many years ago, and it was actually quite useful. I realized it actually helped me maybe to be slightly less complicated. But my question is, so there are 3 people in my life who I'm very close to, in different circumstances, totally different circumstances, who I've known all of them a very long time, who are in extreme suffering, and all of whom have suicidal ideation. 2 of them almost, every day, like very strong. And so, I love them. And and the situations have been going on for a long, long time with all of them. So I do what I can. I mean, I guess, do, and I feel like I'm like making a big ego statement here, but I try and go above and beyond, like a little bit more towards them, just to show kindness and presence. And, because when someone is like that, it's very easy for people to repel, because it's a difficult energy to be with. But, my life would be simpler if I just said, oh, well, I can't do much, or, I just can't handle this. So I guess I'm just trying to find the balance between, and, and my general energy is that if something feels important, I go all in. And then things can get complicated, like I could have had a very simple summer. Some of you heard about the rabbit story. And then I found the rabbits, and it was a big, complicated summer, and I still have rabbits at home, old and caring for. And it would have been much simpler if I'd said, oh, those poor rabbits, and just went back to weeding my garden. So I guess when you said that, I was like, well, I felt like if I'm just being simple, to do that, I'd have to turn my back on a lot of things that feel very important for me to engage in. So that's my so where's the balance?
So I think we have all heard of the example of the lifeguard at the swimming pool. Right? In order for a lifeguard to help the person who's drowning, the lifeguard needs to know how to swim. That's the core of practice. You want to liberate people, you need to be liberated. Right? You want to help someone, you need to know the means to help someone. Right? If I'm not a doctor and I'm trying to do surgery in order to help someone, it's not going to work out so well. Right? And that's the nature, reality thing. So, when we are dealing with people who have that tendency, we need the wisdom in order to help those people. And if we don't have the wisdom, what do? We find someone who has the wisdom to help those people. That's how it works. Right? Simplicity is understanding where you need to work on, what you need to work on. Right? You taking present, the present moment problem and trying to initialize it is not going to make the situation better. What you need to do, if you really want to help, is the long-term help, which is, of course, in the Buddhist perspective, enlightenment. Right? You use that closeness, that strong wish within yourself to help those people in order to achieve enlightenment. That would be a more reasonable path, instead of trying to do something that you are either, it becomes too much for yourself. That is what we call mentally, not to say that you're incapable, but mentally it is straining, overwhelming. Yeah. So overwhelming yourself instead of helping can make situations worse. That's the thing, right? So my understanding of nature, of reality, or the nature and reality of your mind is we do what we are capable of presently. Yeah, there's this story that I love a lot. It's the story of the the high tide bringing in the water, and then it goes back very fast. That there are thousands of fish stuck on the shore. Now, when there's thousands of fish stuck on the shore, there was this one guy who was picking up one fish, going to the sea, throwing it in, coming back, picking up another fish, going to the sea, throwing it in, one more fish to the sea. There's this other guy looking from above and seeing all those fishes there. And he's saying, and he goes down to this guy and says, "What are you doing? There's no way you're going to be able to liberate all these fish. No way you're going to be able to, throw all these fish in the sea. There's thousands and thousands of these fishes." Yeah? And then the other guy, he picks one fish and he throws it at the sea and he said, "Well, at least I made a difference here."
Right.
See? So this is capability.
Right.
Yeah? To be able to do what you can do, and then use that in order to make a difference, rather than taking everything in, which we are incapable of. Now you have a bigger goal, then you have to develop the capability to do that, the ability to be able to do that. And that's where Buddhahood, or the concept of practicing in order to reach enlightenment, becomes so important. Make sense?
That's wonderful. Thank you.
So I think step by step, don't forget, this is important for liberation, and therefore sometimes you need to take one step back to move 3 steps ahead. That one you have to understand. And it's not that you are being mean or you are being unconsiderate in any of those things, but it's the perspective you take and the ability that you have and your mind has that you need to consider more. If you go into a situation thinking you are going to make it better, but end up making yourself a little bit, insane up here, then what's the point? Instead of you're taking one step and moving 10 steps backwards. So don't do that.
It's helpful. Thank you, Rinpoche.
I need to go to the toilet. Too much tea. Anyone else need to go? Bathroom? Yeah. So regarding this question, I think another thing is one thing that we talked about in the last 3 days. Be kind to yourself. Don't push yourself too much. Sometimes the mind, when you are not kind to yourself and you're trying too hard, then what it tends to do is the grasping attitude tends to become stronger. So you need to what we say, a little bit of grasping attitude to actually help it not get overflow of grasping attitude. And if the overflow of the grasping attitude happens, then that's when the destructive emotions come, such as anger, such as revenge, such as, so those things tend to happen also. So yeah. Yeah, next question.
Okay. Thank you so much for teachings once again. And I have a question regarding is it possible to say that bodhicitta and the realization of emptiness of one's own mind is basically same when they kind of meet this great compassion bodhicitta and the kind of realization that there is no this kind of ego, no this kind of basically emptiness of the mind, or it's still kind of different sort of wings of one bird, like compassion and wisdom?
Yeah, not exactly the same. It's like you said, when a bird you have 2 wings.
Yeah.
So one is wisdom, one is method. Yeah, the method, in order to apply the method, you need the wisdom. And just having the wisdom is also not enough, because you need a place to use the wisdom. So it goes, like yesterday we talked, it goes totally. What is it? Supportive, mutual supportive, mutual benefit. The view of emptiness concentrates on the negation of your ability to realize the true nature of reality. Yeah, that things exist on its own side, but things exist not just from its own side. Whether it be that your different view, whether it be that things exist from its own side, or that things exist not just from its own side, but a perspective applied towards it. Whatever it may be, the concept of the true nature of the object is negated through the concept of the view of emptiness. Compassion is to work on the grasping attitude. Yeah? The method to develop your mind to a point where you are able to include, understand through the wisdom, understand that the nature of samsara. Yeah, through the understanding of view of emptiness, you understand the true nature of samsara. Not the samsara that we have, the view of samsara that we have, which is a delusional view that comes from the pride and the greed and the expectation and so on and so forth. Not from that, but the true nature of it. The true nature of the samsaric mind that exists within each and every sentient being. Yeah, so that is one side of it. Then the conclusion of by using that wisdom to understand this, then comes the ability to what we say, to go beyond, to achieve enlightenment. So it's similar to your state. You are a bird. One wing is not enough. You need 2 wings. But when you have 2 wings and one wing starts to fly, the other one also starts to fly very, very, what do we say, naturally. Is that it? Naturally, it's like breathing from 2 nostrils. You suck in the air, it goes in from both. Unless you have a block somewhere here, it goes in from both nostrils without having to think, oh, I want to pull air from here or I want to pull air from here. There's difference? Something like that. So you were saying?
Yes, thank you so much for the reply. In my very limited understandings, that the anger, expectations, and all that comes from the ignorance. Yes, like grasping on oneself. So then, when I interact with others, being obscured by all these afflictions and the ignorance, I kind of there's at some point there is second thought, or maybe they don't need my help, or maybe I'm too much, blah blah blah, all that kind of things, and then comes irritation and maybe anger and whatever. So, but I was thinking, but when you basically sort of liberate your mind from obscurations, so realizing, as I understand, maybe I'm mistaken, emptiness of the mind, that you not exist from that own side, so there is nothing to grasp on. So naturally, you kind of removing all these irritations, all this pride, and as a result, anger towards others, and naturally, bodhicitta, well, this compassion, that comes in the stage. How can I say? Come naturally. So that's why I thought maybe this kind of realization of, I'm just speculating now here, just realization of the emptiness of one's own mind is actually bodhicitta, because you start kind of seeing everyone else like nature, this pure nature of the mind, Buddha nature, whatever, and everyone else, and naturally develop great compassion toward others instead of the anger, irritation, or other sorts of.
The process is basically how you mentioned it. What is it? One after another thing, right? Steps. Yeah, the steps is basically how you explained it. The difference here is when it comes to experience, when it comes to mindset, and when it comes to ability, as we said, right? It's not too much to the point where we understand or where we are able to apply compassion or any of that concept. Compassion doesn't come into the picture until you realize renunciation, until you realize Duje is what? Duje? Yeah, unless you understand the nature of compounded phenomena, right? Then that also on the base of understanding the the body, the gross body, Pumbo, right? Pumbo is gross body? Aggregates, unless you understand the concept of aggregate. Samsara is basically the plate that holds these three, right? Compounded phenomena, samsara, and aggregates, right? So with that concept, what happens is you start developing a wish of liberation. Yeah, and that wish for liberation is not because of you, but for others. The concept of being able to apply it's similar to Dakshinyamje, which is exchanging yourself with others. When you understand your problem, you start understanding people's problems. Yeah. So when you understand that the problem, people's problem, the problem outside, the reflection of your problem. That's why when we were discussing earlier, we were talking about not to overdo. The most important part is the motivation. Unless you have omniscience, the ability to see someone else's mind, you can't tell what he wants and what she wants and what she doesn't want and what he doesn't want. But why are you worried about that? When what most matters is what you do with what intention you do it. That's what matters. Right? If I'm doing something good for her with the good motivation and she's not satisfied with it, in some ways it's like, that's not my problem. Right? You cannot control her mind, neither can you fix her mind. You cannot go inside. That's why we say, 가자. 가서 처음에 야구 주더래. That's the word. One person
should not measure another.
Yeah, one person should not measure another, the ability of other. Yeah, because we cannot we don't have the maintained ability to recognize other people. What we have, the ability we have is the ability to recognize ourselves, the actions we do, the results we create. That we can measure, and we work based on that for the start at the beginning. Then after you developed shamatha, you develop the paths, then you gain more maintained abilities to be able to facilitate more minds. So I think when it comes to the perspective of application of these things, on the main side it's how you explained, one step at a time. The second step is when it comes to understanding these things, you understand it in the measurement of the importance. Right? It goes without renunciation, bodhicitta, no use. Without bodhicitta, the view of emptiness, no use. Without the view of emptiness, renunciation, no use. Right? So it's a complement sort of thing. So this one is the concept in itself. Your ability to approach the path is based on your mindset and your capability. If you are in this room trying to satisfy 30 people, then the intention is good. You are trying to help 10 people or 30 people, and you are doing it with a good intention, and the action you are doing it also is a good action. You can do a good action and people would not be happy about your good action also. There's tons of that. Right or not? So the needing is to satisfy each and every person. That I say it's a
Bless you.
bless me. So what we said, that the need to please and to fulfill everyone's expectation, that's impossible. When I was before in Sera, when I was a monk, everyone's expectation is, oh, you're a Lama, you should do this, you should do that, you have this way, this way. Expectation so much. You have expectation from your people who know you, from your kanzen, from this monastery, from that monastery, from the teachers, from the people who meet you, your people from here, from the, and everyone has a different expectation of you. It's not same. You cannot fulfill everyone's expectation. And if you try doing that, then it's going to mess you up. So don't try, what I'm trying to say is don't try to fulfill everyone's expectations. You are not there to fulfill everyone's expectations. You are there to, in the Buddha nature, you are there to pull everyone out of samsara, not to satisfy everyone. There's two completely different things. Reasons?
Of course.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Normally opposite things.
What?
Bringing people out of samsara and what they want.
Yeah, opposite. Yes.
I don't know. Wendy and I, we were brought up by a father who always encouraged us to question things and not to be a sheep that follows others. Isn't that right, Wendy?
Yes, he was an independent thinker. He was a Christian minister.
Yeah, Christian minister.
Wanted people to think and
Yeah.
not just faith.
Yeah. So that's why, always asking questions. And so, my question today is, a day or two ago you talked about guru devotion, and what came up, but you didn't talk about our inner guru. So would you like to talk a little bit about that?
I think inner guru we talked for 4 days. Inner guru is the wisdom.
Inner guru, sorry?
Inner guru is the wisdom. No?
But how do you rely, to what degree should, to what degree should you rely on your inner guru? And, is inner guru the same as our intuition or our gut feeling? That sort of is another term that we often use, I think, for our inner wisdom.
Sometimes we are acting out of feeling, out of emotion. A lot of the times we are acting out of our emotion. You feel sad, you cry. You feel angry, you scream, you shout. When you are jealous, then you give bad eye. So most of the action we produce is done through emotions. And it's done through emotions because we see that the emotion is, but we feel the emotion to be so real. And when someone says, oh, those emotions are delusion, you go, no, that's not a delusion. I feel it. I just sense it deep inside me. It's not a delusion. But the understanding, the wisdom is to understand that the emotions come from perspectives and views that we have. Again, triggered by whether it be the grasping attitude, whether it be the root ignorance, or something like that. When you realize that, then you start to understand, okay, maybe I'm giving the emotions a little bit too much credit. Because when you go searching the root of the emotion, you start to see it's based on the conception of the grasping attitude. Or you start to see, oh, it's because of the lack of knowledge that I have to understand something that brings that emotion up. When a child comes and when you have a bread in front of you and you are thinking to offer this bread to Bodhanath Stupa or to Bodhgaya Stupa, and the child comes and snatches the bread and runs off, angry. I worked so hard to get this bread so that I can offer to the Stupa or to the Buddha or whatever. But then someone comes and says, oh, this his mother is sick and, hasn't eaten for 3 days, 4 days. His mind starts to change immediately. So the construction, I think, lays within our ability to recognize what is what from what is what. Make sense a little bit? Something like that.
Yeah.
But then again, like I said, intuition is a feeling, gut feeling. Is that, they call it gut feeling? Intuition is a feeling, a gut feeling. People who have developed certain mundane abilities in the past, achieved God-like status in the previous lives. Because gods are still in samsara. Once a god doesn't mean you're always going to be a god. You use up your what we say, merits, you end up in the human realm or end up in the animal realm. Worst scenario, you end up in hell realm. So, but then some people have that little bit of what we say, this, because you have worked on it, the ability so much. Then sometimes some people, they're limited, but there are some people who can have glimpses of intuitions, as we call it, gut feelings, the ability to look at someone and say, okay, this person is a little bit off, without even having to communicate or have. That is there. I think this is a reflection of certain abilities that you have had in the past, but you can't rely on those.
I guess the way I guess the way that I use it is, you're wanting to know what is the best thing for me to do. Would it be A or B or C, or I'm not quite sure, how should I manage this? And so, you relax and you look within, and then you could imagine that Lama Zopa's there, your teacher, and how would Lama Zopa cope with this? So, just being still and just seeing what arises. That sort of is the way that I use that gut feeling, though. In a guru.
It's a good method, but what I would say is reaction has to be done not based on others, but based on your inner ability. There are some things that we want to do, like like the gurus and the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas do, but we don't have the capability. Yeah, our mental capability is not there. And sometimes when we are not mentally capable of handling something, like Rinpoche, if someone cheats Rinpoche $100 million, Rinpoche is okay with it. And if we think, oh yeah, Rinpoche is okay with it, I should also try to be okay with it and try to do something or not react, then sometimes there can be inner turmoil that is what we say, pressed down. And that one maybe not immediately, but later on, 20 years, 30 years, starts to come up. So watch my suggestion would be to watch your mind. And like I said, the things you do, you have to consider your mind, not others' mind. And then based on your ability and your capability, and where and how much you can do, that's where you make the decision. Yeah? If you need to leave the room, get your own space, you go and do that. Just because Rinpoche would sit there and take it, doesn't mean you need to sit there and take it. Because, like I said, the capability, is it? The capability is a little bit different. Now when you reach the status of Rinpoche, the abilities, when you have achieved those abilities, that's when you can really shine forward like Rinpoche. But on the practice side, I would say you need to take one step backwards sometimes. Even if wisdom, even if method, even if the teachings encourage you to take one step forward, just because you're watching your mind, you need to take one step backward. And that would be better for you in the long run regarding your practice, regarding your understanding, and regarding the peace within yourself as well. And sometimes we do too much because we are obliged to do, but the peace is not there. And in the books it said, if you do, there will be peace, yes. But the peace is not there. And that sometimes becomes a problem. Yeah?
Thank you.
So I think, consideration. First consideration is up here. Then once you have achieved, once you have achieved great compassion, the supreme emotion is the fire burning inside, then the consideration is always outside. There's no need for the consideration then. But for now, until the fire, until you ignite the fire, consideration up here still has to be there. I like that one. Because I understand, okay. Yes.
I just wanted to ask a question in regards to the emotion of guilt, because I've found over the years as I've progressed on the path, I've left people behind, and I haven't really had the conversation of, I'm not really interested in doing this anymore. I feel like I've outgrown some friendships, But I've always felt this sort of sense of guilt, and I think maybe that's my self-cherishing, that I haven't closed that chapter. Like, I haven't actually had a conversation with people and said, this is the reason I haven't rung you, or I'm not inviting you, I'm not being social with you anymore because I feel like I've outgrown some old habits. So how do you navigate that emotion of guilt when you sort of feel like you've still held on to that for years because you haven't closed that chapter with friends? I just find that really tricky.
So I think regarding that, one thing you need to understand is your idea of what is the word? Your idea of what is the word? Importance, right? A lot of the things that, in your example, I would say, is that the consideration of importance is there, therefore the guilt exists. So what is the importance there? What was it? If you're talking about friends, was it the fun times we had? Or was it, what was the importance there? Or was it maybe the caring each other, when we needed the care, they were there for us. And then, then you walk away, and then maybe sometimes they also need the care, but you are not there for them, So there is a different pictures there. So one thing you have to consider is the different pictures there. Where is the importance the guilt is coming out from? Yeah? That's one thing you need to figure out. Second thing you need to figure out is some people require certain types of comfort. Like, when you're sad, you need what do you call it? Shoulder to cry on. Sometimes you need a shoulder to cry on. Whether you can do something or not, that's a whole different thing. But having someone there to give you a shoulder to cry on makes a world of difference. Yeah. So that is one thing. Then sometimes, whether it be maybe support, encouragement, that's also an important part. But then if it was, our fun times, we used to drink and we used to party, and then if that is importance, then you can say I've outgrown it. I've outgrown it, and they are still, in their crazy times, still doing drugs and partying, and some people live that way. And we don't see the importance in that because the what do we say? The link is not there. We don't resonate is the word. Resonate. We don't resonate with those things. So that is outgrowing. So if if it's necessary, like I said, if it's necessary when it comes to care, when it comes to expression, when it comes to being there, when it comes to giving a hug, embracing, or any kind of expression of love, and you avoided that, then I think that in some ways can be regretful to a lot of points. But then again, you have to watch your mind, right? Just because you have the ability to give that love, and if you have someone over there who wants more love than, expecting more love than you can give, then sometimes it can harm you more than benefit the other person. In any situation, you need to protect yourself. This is basic human instinct. If there's a hungry tiger running towards you, you run. You don't say, oh, that's a hungry tiger. Unless you have achieved bodhicittahood, or unless you have achieved the color. Path of seeing. Unless you've achieved the bodhisattva's path. If you have achieved the bodhisattva's path, then you wouldn't have a second thought, or you wouldn't even have to question. You have to come up with this question: oh, should I run or should I give? There's no, the question wouldn't even come up. there will be no doubt. But when there is a chance that the question is coming up, then you run. Okay? You run for your life. Ah, you run for your life and you say, okay, now I don't have the ability, but maybe next time when I have the ability, I will be more than willing to sacrifice my body to feed you. And I look very, very forward to that time. For now, I need to achieve Buddhahood. I need to achieve Bodhisattvahood. And I'm going to do anything to protect this mind in order for me to achieve Bodhisattvahood and get enlightened. Yeah?
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
Make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Huh?
No question. Just take it.
Okay, we'll do dedication. Chanchong semjo rinpoche maje panam jinkyo chikyawa nyamba mebayo kone kondo bewa shu timje zuden kimeje zuden namba dadane losan mebe zuden bado chendo shu mime zebe dijen jere ze dime yebe omboze jimze sawe de kanche kibe tsuken tsokaba losan jabe shabla soande one dedication. Allah.
I'm the youngest here, so I should.
Better, good. We need young.
Still fresh.
Young
Because you're young.
dedication.
I'm sleepy today. Okay, so we just take a moment to integrate all of these incredible teachings by Rinpoche. Doing our best not to just keep it as a intellectual understanding, but creating this wish to put into practice, to apply. So as Rinpoche said, we can become slowly a little bit kinder, a little bit calmer, a little bit more compassionate, a little bit more wise towards ourselves and others. And may we take all of this inspiration from Rinpoche's words, but also by being here in Lawudo, by remembering the efforts of Anila, of Lama Yeshe, and especially of Kyabje Lama Zopa Rinpoche. So we can strongly believe in our own potential to achieve enlightenment and benefit others. So we can achieve Buddhahood quickly, very quickly. And for that we need our guides, our teachers, to continue guiding us and all sentient beings. So we dedicate for their long and healthy life. And especially for Rinpoche's swift return. So Rinpoche can continue guiding us with his perfect example. And by putting this effort into achieving enlightenment, we dedicate that this is our contribution for the world to be a better and peaceful place. That all the suffering, all the diseases, all the war, that comes from a wrong view, by not understanding reality, may cease right now. So we dedicate like that. Thank you very much. Good night.